Good morning, sir. Good morning, all the participants.
Good morning.
Today's second session is on image-based non-invasive dimension measurement of real-world objects. The speaker is Professor UC Pati from Department of ECE, NIT Rourkela. I'll be introducing him to you first. So Dr. Umesh Chandrapati is a full professor at the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, NIT Rourkela. He has obtained his B.Tech degree in electrical engineering from NIT Rourkela, Odisha. He received both M.Tech and PhD degrees in electrical engineering with specialization in instrumentation and image processing, respectively, from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. He is also serving as head training and placement center NIT Rourkela at present. His current areas of interest are image, video processing, computer vision, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, industrial automation, and instrumentation systems. He has authored, edited 2 books and published over 100 articles in the peer-reviewed international journals as well as conference proceedings. He has served as reviewer in a wide range of reputed international journals and conferences. He has also guest edited some special issues on cognitive neurodynamics and International Journal of Signal and Imaging System Engineering. Dr. Pati has filed 2 Indian patents. Besides other sponsored projects, he is currently associated with a high-value imprint project, intelligent surveillance data retriever for smart city applications, which is an initiative of Ministry of Education uh, and Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Government of India. He has visited countries like USA, Italy, Austria, Singapore, Mauritius, etc. in connection with research collaboration and paper presentation. He was also academic visitor to the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, San Diego State University, USA, and Institute of Automation, University of Leoben, Austria. He is a senior member of IEEE Fellow of Institution of Engineers India, Fellow of Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, and a life member of various professional bodies like MIR Labs, USA, the Indian Society for Technical Education, and Instrument Society of India. His biography has been included in the 32nd edition of Marquis Who's Who in the World 2015. He is also recipient of Torch Bearer of Education Award 2020 by Coding Ninjas. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us and agreeing to share your expertise with the participants. And I'll be introducing you to the participants also. There are 200 participants in total who have registered for this FDP. There are 25 participants from Andhra Pradesh, 7 from Bihar, 4 from Delhi, 7 from Gujarat, 1 from Arunachal Pradesh, 1 from Assam, 1 from Himachal Pradesh, 1 from Jammu and Kashmir, 8 from Jharkhand, 9 from Jharkhand, sorry, 10 from Karnataka, 1 from Kerala, 8 from Madhya Pradesh, 24 from Maharashtra, 2 from Odisha, 1 from Puducherry, 5 from Punjab, 5 from Rajasthan, 46 from Tamil Nadu, 10 from Telangana, 1 from Tripura, 13 from Uttar Pradesh, 2 from Uttarakhand, and 7 from West Bengal. So this is all about the participants. The participants are from various fields. So this is all about participants. Now I welcome you, sir, on behalf of our department. And please continue, sir.
So, good morning to everyone. In fact, we are on the boundary line of good morning to good afternoon. So just it is 11:58. So it is good morning, and it is nice to
Morning, sir. Good morning. Good morning, sir.
That means yeah, right. Good morning, and it is nice to meet Pan India participants across the country. It is a pleasure to interact. Though I would have liked to meet in face-to-face interactions because that is a proper way of communication in this talk, which was a familiar scene for us for many decades. You had an exhaustive talk today because my talk was scheduled at 11:15 and it is now almost at 11:45 or something like that. So 2 hours long talk already you have listened. So let me add a different version to this talk which you have listened. So let me introduce one aspect of that, that is 3D modeling. And from that modeling, that will be title I'll just discuss. But before that, 3D modeling or 3D reconstruction, there are different applications, a lot of emerging, and it is an emerging field and as well as a research domain which others can take up. So let me share this slide. I have transferred now the PPT mode, and this is in fact the drawback as far as this online presentation is concerned, because you do not see, you are not able to know this exact nature as if it is just I am speaking to a computer screen. So questions are encouraged. In between questions are also encouraged. So image-based non-invasive dimension measurement of real-world objects. So as Madam told, participants are of diversified backgrounds, but I think to some extent it will attract many, because though it is based on images, but the structure is so that the current interest in the topic, so that the research interest in the topic, so that not only academics but also the industry. So a lot of applications. So that will be interesting to all diversified, heterogeneous participants, those who are here. I'll try to make it like this. So first of all, this is image-based. Then it is non-invasive. So non-invasive in the sense nothing is going inside. Invasion is not there. So it is just from the outside, external. So that is what non-invasive. And it is the dimension measurement. That means we are not touching the object. We are measuring its dimension. X, Y, Z coordinates, X, Y, Z of real world objects, the objects which generally we see. So that is the basic. But before that, I shall take you in different paths. It is a little bit ups and down path. So let me take you through that path. So this slide itself here, accurate measurement of dimensions. So that is naturally we are interested for. In industries we are interested for, and there are many objects of which we cannot touch. It is difficult to touch that. There are many cases. So there is no point also. And here optical techniques will be useful, because it is because most of the optical techniques, they are non-invasive in nature. And when you take optical, laser has got a plus points, a lot of plus points in that. So I shall tell the advantages of laser over fluorescent light, other type of lights, but laser has got a lot of plus points for that. So then, what is 3D model or 3D reconstruction? So have a look at the right hand side figures. So extreme, see the top row and right hand side. So what happens? We have got an object, because initially we have discussed that it is a real world object. So that means what we see. So let us take, we have an object. So what is this? How these steps occur? So the figure in the right hand side, so that the original object, and just top row left hand side, that is the intermediate step, mesh structure that has been converted like that. Then again arrow mark comes to the next row, that means last row, and again the same mesh structure has been converted to a shape, that is 3D, that is shape. Color is missing, this painting is missing, but it is a rough one. It can be added also. So that is also possible. So that is what roughly a pictorial representation of 3D modeling or 3D reconstruction. A camera is there to take the pictures. So I have told initially it is image based. So image based in the sense camera is an integral part. So then just one more, and here also same. This is that is a different shape. It is a face. So that means what is my intention of speaking is that any object, anything, living, non-living, that can be reconstructed, remodeled. See this space, different version of space, different sides of space, and that has been merged together at the end, the color one, bottom, extreme right. So that is what any sort of object we can make it 3D reconstructed. So then I told at the beginning the applications. I told that it's a wide range of applications. So let us discuss one by one. So first one is reverse engineering. We have heard the term engineering, but what is reverse engineering? Exactly the meaning is that because this computer, everything, it came later on. Before that also, our industry was there. It was operating. So there are many components, many equipments which do not have a 3D model. Why we require that now? Because we may preserve it for a long time, that this type of equipment once upon a time we are using. That is one. Or we want to upgrade that. So all the manufacturing products nowadays, it has to go through modeling first, a reconstruction part. So reverse engineering is already a product is there. Now we are getting its reconstructed image, 3D modeling image. Then we want to try to upgrade it. So that is what the first application. Then second one, collaborative design. Collaborative design in the sense collaboration. It is a, first of all, when a company thinks of giving a product, it has to be validated, appreciated by customers, clients. So instead of going for a prototype, a sort of initial product can be made by a sculptor. It is not an original one, but it is just a sculptor. It will be just a replication. It's just a representation of the product which is supposed to be manufactured by the plant. Even prototype, it is not prototype also. So unnecessarily wastage of money. Then it can be disseminated to the clients, how the external appearance looks like, how it, if any changes has to be there. After the approvals, then other changes can be made. Inspection. We have first of all a 3D model of the object. Then we want for mass production. Or first of all, instead of going for mass production, let us go for a prototype, a sample one. Then let us compare with original model which you have got. Because first of all, model has to be there, then production has to be there. So then both should match. That means the product prototype which you have got, it's 3D model, and the original model which we have made, the company has got it. Both should match. If there is a deviation, then we need to make a correction. That is inspection. The product is being inspected before mass production. That is inspection. Then next one, entertainment. Who can deny the entry of 3D into entertainment? Virtual reality, video games, 3D, all the things they need 3D applications. Then virtual museum. What is this virtual museum concept is all about? Here, one point to make it beforehand that this 3D modeling is an interactive one. The user can rotate it 360 degree up and down and see the complete object. Many museums are there in different parts of the world, and a person is not able to go to different parts. If we can create a virtual museum, that means the statues, everything what is there inside the museum, we can make a digital version of this and store it so that people across the world can have an interacting view of that particular statue or anything which is difficult, costly for everyone to go to, let us say, Australia or somewhere to see a museum. It also, a digitized copy, what's the advantage is that it does not have a aging effect. Let us say Konark statue, it has got aging effect. It decays. But if we have a digital copy of the statue which is there in Konark, so we can see that for a long time to come, it will not decay. So that is a virtual museum. The next one important application, medicine. So how this applicate 3D modeling, 3D reconstruction? Prosthetic design, artificial limbs. A soldier loses his arm. We need to have a proper design so that he can have an artificial limb. How to do that? How the proper fitting will be there? The expenditure, unnecessary expenditure will be not be there. First of all, the portion of the hand which he has, that has to be 3D modeled. Then a artificial limb has to be produced and a 3D model is to be taken for that. And then both have to be merged if the dimensions matches, if everything matches. Then the company goes for, the manufacturing company goes for prosthetic design, artificial limb design. That will be proper, unless otherwise it will have a product, the negative it will not fit to the limb. What is the use of that? That is one aspect. Then second, skin. This many of the film stars, they changes the structure of the faces. Some skin scanning they made. One person, one surgeon cannot directly use his knife on the any persons. It is not actors only. Any persons who are interested to make some changes in his face structure. So what is being done? A 3D model of the person's face is being taken. Then changes is made there rather than on the actual face. Changes is made there. If the person concerned agrees, nah, my face should be like this, then only the surgeon uses the knife on his face because it's a risky business. The next application in medicine can be, we have CT images, MRI images. A single scan, a single a single MRI image gives a small portion, and doctor has to see sometimes multiple CT scans or multiple MRI scans. So in that context, what happens that the doctor has to correlate. Let us say 10 slides are there. It has to 1, 2, 3, 4. It has to correlate. But this reconstruction, it will give the doctor a single view of the entire inside of a human being. So that will be much easier for a doctor to analyze what has happened rather than correlating slide number 1 with slide number 10. In fact, right now I shall tell this concept, what I told, it is called volume reconstruction. Because reconstruction or modeling has two aspects. One is surface reconstruction. Second one is volume reconstruction. I shall mainly focus on surface reconstruction. But what I told right now, it is volume reconstruction inside of a human being, inside of an object. That is a different aspect of the research domain because everything we cannot take at a time. So I shall take surface reconstruction, surface modeling. Then home shopping. Time is a constraint now. People have got money, but they do not have got time to go to the market to purchase it. They see the images, that is all right. But this 3D model will give an interactive view, 360-degree view. It has to be rotated, ups and downs, everything. So that gives a, rather than an image, it gives a clear-cut picture of a object, of anything a person wants to buy. So the choice become more easier. These are few examples of 3D model or 3D reconstruction, and it attracts the attention, as I told at the beginning, of the researchers, academicians, as well as industry professionals. 3D reconstruction, 3D modeling. What is that? Because actually before going over the case studies, I have in our lab, we have made some case studies and it's a gradual upgradation. But before that, I would like to introduce the different steps through which we need to go. At least one has seen the video, but what exactly happens behind the screen? It is the process. Just let me have a read of this. It's the process of generating a three-dimensional representation, 3D, because it's a X, Y, Z coordinates at the beginning, as I told. Three-dimensional representation of an object from the observations at low dimensions. That means 2D representations, 2D images. So what are the steps? First step will be data acquisition. Second one will be registration. Third one will be integration. These are the three different steps of 3D reconstruction. Let us see that what is this data acquisition, what is this registration, and how they contribute for this 3D model. This is data acquisition. This is taxonomy of data acquisition. That means complete tree structure is there. Though in our case study, in our experiments, we shall use one, but I have shown you the complete domain of data acquisition. Any one can be taken out, but there are plus and minus. So how these methods are? So basically, you will see the structure, taxonomy. The first one is passive data acquisition method, and the sister component is active. Passive means there is no interaction with the object of which we are interested for make a 3D model. It involves very less hardware, but has a drawback that it is not that accurate because this is a chronological development. What I have shown, people have thought of having a 3D model, say go step by step. This method of data acquisition, then thought of it is not working properly. They go for different methods. But for the sake of our knowledge or information, we need to have a complete domain. What exactly is being used? So passive is divided into two. SFS, that means safe from shading, stereo vision. Safe from shading. Shading means when a person or any object stands, it has got a shade. So from that information also, length, breadth, and height, this information can be extracted. As I have told, this is the very much earlier version of the data acquisition. It is not so accurate, just I am representing because once upon a time, people are using this has been used, even if it gives a rough approximation of the object. One point I should mention it here that 3D representation or 3D modeling is a approximated one. Still, there will be a deviation of 0.001% also. Exact representation is somewhat difficult, but still one has to try. Then stereo vision. Two pictures, one has to find a point correspondence between two. So stereo vision is a different concept altogether, and depth information can extract from this stereo vision process also. Let us go to the active methods. It is divided into two, contact, non-contact. The name is self-explanatory. Contact, CMM. Contact has got one method only, CMM. Coordinate measuring machine. A machine is there, it touches the object, gets the depth value, the range value. In fact, here we want the terms like depth map, range map, which gives a representation of Z coordinate. This particular CMM, coordinate measuring machine, has got touch probes. It touches the object and find out its distance from the reference point. Is it advisable to touch all objects? Answer is no. Why? Because there are fragile objects also. If we touch it, that will break down. Or let us say there is a hot object. We want it is 3D modeling. That is also not possible because we cannot touch it. Of course, that instrument can touch, but still there is a possibility that it may get damaged. So for all objects, it may not be advisable one. That is other option. People thought of non-contact type of data acquisition. And it is divided into two parts, reflective and transmissive. Again, name is understood. So let me discuss about the right hand side first, transmissive, because it has got only one and it does not have a tree structure. It's a dead end there. So computer tomography. Already I have taken this name earlier. Everyone knows this. And I have a little bit discussed about that also. Transmissive. That means the beam goes inside. I have told at the beginning, active means there is an interaction with the object of which we are interested to make a 3D model. So CT scan, all the things, and it has to be combined together to produce a volume reconstruction of the internal structure of the human being. So that is transmissive data acquisition. Let us come back to the reflective. There should be some sort of reflection which will be captured. What is that? Divided into two categories, non-optical, then optical. I think both are again self-explanatory. Let us go to the non-optical, because optical has got a tree structure. Non-optical is divided into two parts, microwave radar and sonar. So microwave radar in this sense, pulses, microwave pulses will be sent. And here sonar means sound waves objects will be sent. So transmission and reflection back. Those things to be taken care of so that we can have a depth value from a reference point. Different points, it's a number of pulses, so it's a continuous transmission. Let us come to the optical. It is in fact divided into a number of categories. Let us come from the right hand side. One interruption. Madam, am I audible clearly?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah, right. Because I am not able to know the other side of the screen. So I need to ask. So imaging radar. So here, in fact, this microwave radar and imaging radar identical, except that here it is an optical pulse. That is a microwave pulse. Here it is optical pulse. Only different because we are discussing about the optical section of this. Then active stereo. If you can remember, or if you can look at that, passive data acquisition method has got a stereo vision. This is from ambient. Now active stereo, that means some projection of light is there here. Again, same comparison between two, and a coherent point between two images at a particular point has to be obtained. Active depth from deep focus, blurring, distance from focal plane. So this range of an object depends upon its blurring from the reference point. That can also be taken care of. Interferometry. Interference is a term which we know it. It is divided into two categories, Moray and holography. So what is exactly interference? There are two waves. One is reference wave, one is measurement wave. They need to be overlapped with each other. And there will be interference. Moray is force partially transmitted light beams. Holography is coherent light, laser light. So that is the difference between the two, but both the cases, there has to be interference patterns. The last one, triangulation. In fact, this one we have used in our case studies because it has got some plus points. It is divided into two categories: scanning, non-scanning. So scanning is that object will be stationary, whose 3D model has to be extracted. The laser source, the source which is supposed to that, it will move. It will scan the entire object 360 degrees. The images has to be taken care of. In this case, either the object will be remain stationary, laser beam has to be moved, or laser beam can be stationary, object can move. I shall show the sketches for that. But the summary is that it has to be completely scanned throughout. Non-scanning. A sheet of light, number of beams has to be thrown upon the object, and the reflected things will be taken care of. So that is non-scanning. I have given an extensive idea about the data acquisition methods. So in these cases, what is that? Different processes, but why this 360 degree? Time and again I have taken a name 360 degrees. Why it is for 360 degrees? Because the surface profile of an object has to be taken, complete surface profile. More the information we take from the surface, the 3D representation will be more accurate. But sometimes what happens, there are slopes. All the portions are not visible from a single scan. So that is the reason why multiple views from different angles of the object has to be taken because of occlusion. So the next point I have written multiple views from different directions. That is what we have to take. And the method which you have used here, that is optical triangulation. The word is optical. That means you are using an optical light. Triangulation, there should be a triangle. So what is that? What is this method of data acquisition? Already I have discussed a little bit, but let us go for optical triangulation. Particularly this method, it has got a lot of plus points, and for that we have used optical triangulation. See this sketch? I think this sketch is visible in your screen. Object is, this is a raw representation, nothing else. This is a, in this left hand side, this is laser source. It has been incidented upon the object, then reflected, or a camera is there. It has to take the image of that. Just a symbolical representation. So it has got angles. One can mark it. This is a baseline B. One is alpha, one is beta. Alpha is the inclination angle between laser source and the baseline. Beta is that between camera and the baseline. So it looks like a triangle. Object. Now let us come to the beginning. Laser, object, and camera. And that is the reason why it is optical, due to the presence of laser. Triangulation, because laser, object, and camera, they makes a triangle. Optical triangulation. So the range R is mentioned, is a function of what? Function of alpha, function of beta, the angle between the laser, camera, all the things, and baseline distance between camera and laser. I shall show the calculation because as I repeatedly I am telling, I have a case stories. What I am discussing about the basics, fundamentals of 3D modeling, which will be valid for all the cases what we have implemented, or if anyone is interested, he can implement. He or she can implement. I have told at the beginning, phi laser. has got 2 plus points. Can be held in tight focus over long range. The characteristic of the laser is such that long range can be, it can afford, and it also improves resolution, close distance. So this plus points laser has, which is fluorescent or incandescent lamp, they do not have. These do not have. Second plus point, extremely narrow radiation spectrum and immune to ambient illumination. Though we shall prefer a little bit of dark place for this, but still if there is a little bit of ambient illumination or there is a little bit sufficient also, still laser beams are distinctly visible because you have seen the application of laser pointer. Even if ambient illumination, everything is there, the laser point is distinctly visible, and that is the reason why we use laser in comparison to other fluorescent incandescent, all other options which are got in optical domain. Then I have told few things. While discussing about the different methods, triangulation, we have told scanning, non-scanning, and 360-degree, all the angles. What does it mean? This picture will clear everything. This structured light, this is called structured light scanner. Structured light because it's a definite type of or pattern of light which is being projected, not random. I have told what is the plus points, dense and accurate 3D data. Time and again I'm telling, repeatedly I'm iterating the same thing. More number of data we extract from the surface, more accurate the 3D modeling or 3D reconstruction will be. It is obvious because missing points or missing parts does not give a representation. Even we take as close as possible, still there will be interpolation. I shall come to the point a little bit later. And here, in relative to other methods, it requires relatively simple hardware. But what is that hardware? What it requires? See this, there is a laser, if you can see clearly, I think your screen gives the laser projector, and there is a camera. Because as I told, three things, object, randomly picked, objects are there on these things. And there is a stage, that means a platform on which the object has been placed. The platform has significantly two motions, linear motion as well as rotary motion. You can see that. So this is everything is marked. This sketch itself, the image itself is a self-explanatory. So translation as well as rotation. It is required because, as I told, let us fix the object. Let us fix the first of all, sorry, let us fix the laser beam. Then the object can have a translational motion, a combination of translational as well as rotational motion, so that complete view can be obtained. So that is the generally for accurate 3D reconstruction, this type of structures are being used. I would like to tell, before I go over to the case study, I'd like to tell one of my experience in Austria. I had been in an invitation of a professor, I had been there. And in the lab itself, for BTech projects, they are using 3D modeling. What they are doing? A prototype of object, let us say wooden object, some of the structure, some dimensions is there. It is placed and it has become automatically by the students. A camera takes the image. Processing is being done what I am expressing right now. Computer produce a 3D model of the object. That 3D, that information is fed to a robot. Raw material are provided to the robot one by one. And the robot goes on producing that similar object which has been 3D modeled. And there is inclusion of the robot because it has got its sharp things and By default, if someone comes over, he may get hurt. So this is linear stage, rotary stage, there is a laser projector, there is a camera. Is there any questions till date, till this time? Keeping everything at the end, you may forget, but anyway, I encourage questions in the mid also. That is more interactive.
Participants, if you have any question, please raise.
Yeah, right. If you are at any, not only this point, at any point of time, if you are interested, you can ask. This is structure light scanner. Then different pictures of structure light scanner, just to make you familiar that how it looks. That is what is structure light scanner. This is also one setup, experimental setup, which is there for structures. The base, if you can see, there is a base that is linear. At the ground, there is a rotatory stage on which an object is there, and a laser beam is focused on that. Everything is visual, I think. So one can clearly see this setup here, an actual scanner. That was previous one. That was just a pictorial representation. This is actual 3D representation of the structure light scanner.
Hello.
See this.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
There are some questions in the chat box also. What is approximate cost of prototype?
What is the approximate cost of the prototype? Prototype means final product. Final product is the 3D model, this object itself. So prototype or all the equipments, all the combinations which you are asking for, because actual cost of prototype is generally used for a product which is supposed to be commercially produced. So that question is a little bit fuzzy type of things. Any other question? Okay. If any other question is there, madam, you can tell. So cost of the cost of the complete setup one is interested for, it depends upon the quality of the laser, quality of the stage which you are preparing, and the quality of the camera as well as the computer. So it differs. Exact approximate cost, because everyone is using these things, so it little bit differs. So exact depends upon what type of material you are using for the base, what type of color. So little bit differs from person to person. But roughly these are the components: stage, laser beam, camera, and a good quality PC. That is what you require. So here there is a camera here. If you see the structure, so it is a camera here. Then laser beam is focused. Just I am showing the different representations how it looks like. There are objects, and see the representation in the computer screen. And we are getting 3D height information here. So roughly this can give an idea about a scan image, laser beam, which is, and in fact this is a sample from our own experiment. So this is what data acquisition is all about. Let us go to the next step, that is registration. If you can remember, I mentioned that there are different steps for 3D reconstruction. One is data acquisition, second one is registration. What is exactly the term registration is means? It's a rough object, hand crank, roughly, because any object you have taken. So what happens? Or in the right hand side, there is another object. So there are 4 views: camera view A, camera view B, camera view C, and camera view D. So I have told at the beginning that a 360-degree view has to be taken of the object. So that means the object can be stationary, the camera will move, or camera may be stationary, object will move. So depending upon the situation, which is moving, laser, all the things they are supposed to move relatively. End result is that whichever is moving, that doesn't matter, but we'll have images from different viewpoints, different coordinate system. That is, different viewpoint means can be or will be different coordinate system. So when we are getting different coordinated system, see this is just an example of a scanning. This is one angle scanning. I think madam, this movable laser beam is visible. Madam?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah, right. So this is a so here is one more direction. If you can see, the laser beams, they have got different profiles, surface profile. Depending on the surface profile, the beams are varying, and it has been taken. The beams are varying from different angles. I have told that the term scanning. Scanning means the object is there. I shall show the object also which is there, because little bit we have taken in a dark room, because I told at the beginning that even if laser is not affected by the ambient illumination, but still we have preferred a dark room. So that is the reason why it looks like that. Object is not able to be visible. So these are all different angles of taking this scanning in our lab. I shall show in details later on also. I'm just in the verge of explaining what is registration. The definition of registration is here. It is the process in which the multiple views are aligned into a single coordinate frame. I told we are taking the images from different angles, different viewpoints, local coordinate system, but this has to be merged into a global coordinate frame. Unless otherwise, there will be error. It has to be merged. That is the process of registration. There has to be transformation with respect to one view. And the transformation can be achieved by y is equal to Rx plus T. R is rotation matrix, T is translation vector. X is the point in camera 4 coordinate and Y is the same point in wall coordinate. I shall explain in little bit more detail later on when I shall go over to the case studies, registration. So how to find out the rotation matrix? That means one point has to be rotated to the other point. Because we are taking from 5 different views, and it has to be merged to a single view. Unless otherwise, we cannot have 3D modeling with images from different angles, different points. This has to be have a base point, and base point is the particular view we have to take into consideration. Just an example of that is a geometrical representation. Let us say there is a XY point. It has to be rotated to X dash Y dash. So it's an example just for anti-clockwise rotation. Rotation matrix will be like this, because that is what we have seen here. X dash is this. You can calculate this one. X dash is X cos theta minus Y sin theta. Y dash is X sin theta plus Y cos theta, and the matrix comes over like that. And rotation matrix is nothing but like that. It is for anti-clockwise rotation. For clockwise rotation, sign will change of sign. So that is anti-clockwise. And this is for 2D. For 3D, the rotation matrix little bit changes. So that is how pi is equal to Rxt for that. So what are the registration techniques? First one is feature matching technique. I told there will be different views. So feature matching technique is, that means there will be a matching correspondence between different views. Features has to be taken care of. What are the features? Corners, significant points. That has to be taken care of, and a correspondence has to be established. So what is the advantage of this one? Because we are not taking all the points of this image, this is less mathematical complexity. Method data handling is less, and it is relatively simple also, but it does not give clear picture because we are taking selective points, not all the points. To overcome that, there is a technique called surface matching technique. where we take more details of the surface, complete surface patch. Generally, what happens, though surface matching technique I shall little bit extensively discuss because it is a much more advantageous than the feature matching technique because it gives more surface detail. But generally what happens, for a good representation of the object, feature matching technique is followed by surface matching technique.
हेलो
Feature matching technique for, hello? Yes,
क्या क्या उसमें लिखे हैं?
any questions, ma'am?
नहीं तो उसको हमको भेज दीजिए, हम फोटो भी किए हुए हैं ना, फोटो सब भेज देंगे.
Okay, ma'am, the question was not for me, I think. Feature matching technique. So in this feature matching technology, so surface matching, any combination, feature matching technique is for coarse registration, surface matching technique is fine registration. So because of lot of plus points of surface matching technique, I shall discuss little bit of idea what is this surface matching is all about. And one algorithm which is frequently used here, it is ICP algorithm, iterative closest point algorithm. I think many of you might have heard, I'm not pretty sure, iterative closest point algorithm. There are two surfaces, P and Q. Both has to be merged together. P will be brought in coincidence with Q. What are the steps? There are A, B, C, D, E, F. So there are selective points in P, there are selective points in Q. A correspondence between the selective points in P is obtained with the correspondence points with Q. Then a transformation has to be made, rotation as well as translation. The surface P comes to P1 in C, image C, and that is coming together. That means it is coming closer to Q. Again, correspondence is established between P1 and Q. Again, same step is iterated. Surface comes to P2, image E. Then finally again correspondence is made and see that P does almost merges with Q. That is iterative closest point algorithm. That is what generally the registration is being made. So bit of algorithm, I shall not stay here for a long time because already have represented in a pictorial form. But if you are interested for a little bit of detailed explanation, these slides will help. So I have shown P and Q. For each point in PK, it's a closest point Q is computed. So consequently, it produces a set of closest points. Then we apply that mean square objective function, reduce the error. Then we iteratively apply this transformation. Then we achieve the registration result what we are interested. When it will be terminated, if the desired precision of the registration is met, or we have fixed that this much number of iterations will be sufficient, it has reached. Then it will be terminated. The program will be terminated. Then the last step, integration. Data acquisition is over, registration is over. Integration. What is integration? It eliminates the redundancy and generates a single connected surface model. What is this redundancy? And where from does it come? Redundancy in the sense it is undesired, unwanted. I told that we take views from different angles. So camera view A, camera view B. There is every probability that there will be overlapping regions between two views of the same object. Overlapping regions. So does it require because same information is there in camera view A and same information is there is in camera view B. If we take multiple of that, it will unnecessarily increase the computational complexity of the algorithm. So that is, we have to eliminate, and that process is integration. One more favorite method of integration, Delaunay triangulation. So definition of Delaunay triangulation is like this. It is the vertex set. The triangulation is the property that no vertex in the. You can have a look at that rather than I go on reading like that. You can read on that. But let me explain. See the left hand side. Left hand side there is just random points. So the random points, it has to be triangulated because this is the data points which we shall get. This type of data points which I'll get from the surface of an object. That surface from the object will be dense data points, but it has just, for example, it has been shown. So these data points has to be triangulated, unless otherwise, how it will look like a surface. It will only look as a data points. So that is where Delaunay triangulation, the word triangulation, that means it triangulates the point so that finally it will be so dense that it will look like a complete surface. I think it is clear the objective why you go for that. So this is the point to be added. This is an example of that. This is a point to be added. And already existing triangulated points. So that is also, it has been shown. And the triangular mesh. So everything has been shown here. That means we are on the continuing process of making a triangulation process. Already we have triangulated few points. We have got a triangular mesh. Then again we have data points which need to be triangulated. So that is what the process is. This will give the ultimate idea about what exactly the triangulation. The data point which I showed in the previous sketch has to be triangulated. How? So this is a polygon enclosing triangles with intersecting. See this, just a complete process is there. And then, sorry, and then this is the resultant triangle which you have obtained. See this, all the points, all the points, but it has been converted, and we have got a new mesh here. And each new point will be added like this. In fact, this is the complete process. How generally 3D reconstruction or 3D modeling is being achieved. I shall skip over to the case studies right now. But before that, is there any questions? Acha, madam, is there any questions in between? Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, just I am asking about the questions you have. Unless otherwise, I'll carry on. So I encourage keeping everything at the end. If you can interactively do that, that will be good. But anyway, I don't think that is in questions. Then objective. So development of 3D model of an object from range images. I have told range images. Range means depth images, which gives X, Y, and Z coordinate. How this range images comes into picture. Let us see that. So I shall discuss few case studies. So this is an object which has been taken, and this object is very much familiar with everyone. This is a normal measuring weight. In our lab, we have developed all these things. So only speaking that this is 3D model, this is the way how we do that, it does not solve any purpose if it is not practically implemented. We have gradually developed. Here, this is the initial study which we have. Then we refine that in the next study. I shall go on speaking till time permits. So dimensions, see this diameter of the internal hole, 8 centimeter, we have measured everything, total height, cavity is there, cavity radius is there, cavity depth is there. So everything is there here. So let us produce a 3D model and then measure its dimension rather than physically measuring. What is your objective? Non-invasive, image-based non-invasive dimension measurement. That we shall do. We shall not touch it, but we shall get the dimensions and see how much accurate we are. So what exactly the steps which I have discussed, we'll follow it here. So this is the laser source. So if you can see, that is a little bit red at the extreme right. So this is little bit of red here. That means a laser beam, though it is not clearly visible. I shall show one more also later on. But some sort of laser beam, laser source can be here also, where laser will be eliminating through this right hand side open slit. There is a opening here, and beam of light will come through this one. Then experimentation details. What is the setup we have used? We have taken this object first, then we have changed the object, because this is the object which you are able to see. This is the second object. I have not taken the picture of, though it is similar, but I have not taken the object. This is second object which I shall discuss. The first one is the weight. We have done it here itself. So a camera is there, a computer is there, and here it is a Carpenter designed movable laser, which generally we move by hand. As I told, we have gradually migrated from little bit raw in nature of measurements to a more complex or automatic measurements. Here it is a raw one. That means it is a laser beam has to be moved across the object, on the surface of the object by hand. One view, second view, third view, fourth view, and each time images has to be taken in the camera and it has to be stored in the PC. You can see in the PC that there is a faint picture of an image which has been taken. Little bit of faint one because of ambient light, but still you can have a look that yes, there is some image which is there, and it is actual experimentation which you have done for this object. But now I'm discussing the previous one which you have done in our lab. So this is laser scanned image. There is an object. It has got different shapes on its surface. Laser beam falls on this. It is not a uniform straight line. It depends upon the depth of this object, shape of the object. Now it looks like that. So here we have projected a laser beam, and the pattern of illuminated points pattern has been captured by the camera. Camera has taken those cameras. So how to get the depth value? I've told the optical triangulation, same process has been used here. So how to get the depth value? This is the calculation through which we have got it. I have shown in triangular form here, laser, camera, baseline, distance, everything we have shown. Object is there. So here, if you can see that y is equal to h by tan theta plus h by tan beta. If we simplify that, h will be y is equal to tan theta tan beta. You can see from the sketch itself, if you can, it's a simple geometrical calculation. So one can get that what is this height of the particular point from these values. It will be easier to get it. So we have got the depth value. Then how to process? It's a image processing. So first of all, we have to make a gray image, because that is what the normal process is, that we need surface points. We do not need color for the timing, Addition of color will be later on. We do not need color at this. So this RGB, it's a color image, is converted to grayscale. This is normal image processing algorithms. Very simple one also. MATLAB code will solve, because those who are using MATLAB and little bit of handle with image processing, they can know that these are many of the here are single liners code. So then it will be converted to binary image, because that is repeatedly I am telling those who are not from image processing background, these are the normal processes, pre-processing of any images. So the gray image is converted to binary image. And what is the need of binary image? We just remove the unnecessary clutters, noise from the desired surface points. We make a threshold. So what the final image gives us? The desired laser illuminated points only, nothing else, no clutters, no artifacts, no other businesses they are here. Then we have created a 3D point cloud. The right hand side, you can see that this is a color bar, and those who are a little bit familiar with MATLAB, this is gives us depth values. Depending upon the color, the depth of the object can be obtained. So from this 3D point cloud, because here this is little bit rudimentary way how we have done that. Completely algorithm, but still I want to show the experiments. Second one will be more exhaustive. Then there will be surface reconstruction. I have discussed about the Delaunay triangulation. And here same process has been used. If you can remember while I was discussing Delaunay triangulation, and it is followed by median filtering, because median filtering is for smoothing of the image, noise removal. So finally, we have got a smooth surface of the object, relatively smooth object, same weight which you had used in a different versions. It looks in 3D form. And see this x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. This is the reconstructed surface. Then we have measured its dimension. How much accurate we have got. So here, initially, I had mentioned the dimensions. Now, I have presented original as well as reconstructed. There are errors. And I have told categorically 3D reconstruction is an approximation. Because all the points, how much details we get, all the points we shall not get. So somewhere in the 10% region, the error is there. We thought of refining the process. The algorithm, the way which you have followed, what I have explained earlier. Same setup, but object gets changed now. We are not satisfied with this dimensions, but the process also, representation also, 3D representation also. We didn't like it. We didn't like it in the sense that was the first. Then we upgrade that, and we told the carpenter to prepare a little bit of complex object for us. So it has got a circular shape. It has got a square, almost square, and a triangle and a notch. So different shapes. It's just an example. Anyone interested can take some other object also. Experimental setup remains same. So then, and the dimensions are like that. This is the external dimension, not individual dimensions. So that means circle, notch, and triangles, rectangle, these have got different, but this is the external dimension of the object. Length, breadth, and height. experimental setups remain same, and process remains same. Again, same beam of laser what I have shown earlier as a object that has been projected here, and all the four views, different views, all the four views are taken into consideration. And here I am telling we have taken four views, not 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8, if it would have been, that would have been much better. But we are gradually developing, so I thought of keeping it in four views. That means we have rotated the object anti-clockwise by 90 degrees. Each time 90 degrees. So 0, 90, 180, 270 and 360. So correspondingly we will get four different views of the object. So process is almost same. The captured image is converted into grayscale image processing, and normal image processing algorithm. Global threshold level here, in fact, we have taken 100. So we have separated desired laser illuminated points from the background. Same set of gray image conversion we are supposed to do. Then the gray image is again converted to binary image for the region which I have told. Then one more step which we have not followed at that time. That this gray image, it has to be, this binary image has got a number of data points which is not desired. See this binary image here, it has got a thick line. That means number of points are more. Is it needed? See the skeletonized image here in the right hand side. It is a single line, but the surface details remain intact. So why we should not go for a skeletonized image when you are interested? Unnecessarily, it will increase the computational complexity if we take the binary image. So we went for a skeletonized image in these cases, and there is a thinning algorithm. This is normal image for those who are interested. Those who are in image processing, there is a thinning algorithm. And in the right hand side, in the skeletonized image, we are getting a single pixel thin line. Pixel. Picture elements. So single pixel thin line we are getting. So unnecessarily to remove the computational complexity, we have used that. So then same optical triangulation process we have used, what we have used earlier, but little bit we have refined the registration process, which was little bit raw for earlier. We have made it this a bit refined. I have extensively discussed about the registration, why it is required and how it is achieved. So here the coordinate values of all the illuminated pixels are calculated and stored. Pictures, images, we are taking in image, that means pixels. And how correspondence will be have, that is called, the term is image coordinates of a point x, y. How we can calculate the world coordinates, that means real coordinates x, y, z. How to calculate z we have explained, but how to make a correspondence? Experiment is being made. First of all, a plain sheet of paper is being taken. An image is taken. The plain sheet of paper, this length and breadth is measured. And the image which were taken, that means we calculate how much millimeter per pixel difference. Per pixel difference. So that means if there is a per pixel difference is 2 millimeter, then it has to be calculated properly. So this is a conversion of camera coordinates or image coordinates to real world coordinates. In this process, we stored all the pixels, all the values we stored. And the process which is there, it is repeated for all the images. We have taken 4 views, first view, and all the rest 3 views. I have told at the beginning that for the registration we have we have taken feature matching technique and followed by surface matching technique, iterative closest point algorithm, what I have told. Feature matching technique for coarse in the sense it will just approximate. Then surface matching technique for fine. That means it will closely merge each other. Surfaces will merge. Then I have told that all the views, those who are in local coordinates, has to be in global coordinate. So then it has to be merged to the first view. First one will be taken as the standard. Other 3 views will be rotated and merged with the first one. Rotation, translation, I have discussed. Then how to merge that? At a particular, taking a reference point, at a particular reference point, it has to be merged. So left bottom corner we have chosen. Left bottom corner of the object is chosen as the feature for registration of different views. So that will be standard. First view will remain intact. All the 3 views have a rotation of 90. If they have the anti-clockwise, clockwise rotation was there, this will be reversed in the direction now the views is there. And in the same process, we have used iterative closest point algorithm for the registration process. So then I have told we have taken left bottom corner of the object. So how to detect that? Have a glance through the algorithm which we have used. So this is a typical algorithm. I think I'll skip this slide. This is a corner detection. So now let us come over here. See this view 1, view 2, view 3, view 4. From different angles, the scanning has been done. And there are points on the platform and there are points on the surface of the object.
The
Platform
slide
points.
has not
Yes.
changed.
Which one?
The slide has not changed.
It is changing here. Achha, madam, are you getting 45 number? Are you, madam, getting the new slide or the original one?
Some blue lines are visible, sir. V1, V2, V3, V4.
That is the next slide. Because previous one was there corner detection and the blue lines is the next one. 2D point cloud for lasers. This is the point cloud. This is the change slide right now. So view 1, 2, view 3, and view 4 from 4 different angles: 90, 180, 270, and 360 degrees. So it has been taken like that only. So 4 different views we have taken, and the blue lines are laser points. Points positioned close to each other gives a representation of a line. So these are the data points which we have obtained. So we are discussing about the 2D point concern. So this is 2D point cloud from the laser scan. I am repeatedly telling this is points close together to each other. That is the reason why it gives a representation feeling of a line. But this is not a line in fact. Lines are there in the surface of the object and on the platform also. Then we we have got range images from one view. So see this is the 3D representation. The blue lines are on the platform. Here in this case, there is a platform on which the object was placed. So this is the platform lines. The laser beam was there across the object in the platform itself, and here itself on the surface of the object, that is there in the surface of the object also. So surface of the object has an elevation, because if you remember, the height was 3.5. So it is almost at the same height. The points has been located here. And then we merged 4 different views, all the views which I have got. Then we get accumulated range images. All the images have been come together and we have got a registered image. You can see that this is all over here. Then in these cases, it has to be merged together. And we have got a cloud of points out of this. Then finally, we go for integration. That means if you can see that there are all data points here, all the data points on the surface of see the difference between range images from one view and registered range images from all the 4 views. The lower one, registered range images, has got a lot of points, whereas from one it is little bit scared, little bit not dense, but here it is all 4 views. See the density of this. It lifts a complete blue cloud. So this is in fact it is called. Still, there are lines on the platform which we do not require. This has come because laser line, when it falls, it does not fall only on the surface of the object. It also falls on the platform. But we do not require the lines on the platform or the points on the platform. I am telling lines, but in fact these are points. Points on the platform we do not require. It does not give a look like a object. How to get it? And here it is the final step. Steps for integration. Detection, the integration step is divided into 3 categories, 3 steps, not categories, steps. Detection of overlapping points, merger of corresponding points, generation of 3D model. Detection of overlapping points. I told in the beginning that the camera view 1, camera view 2, they will have redundant data points. Which is there in 1 will be there in 2. So that we have to decide that which are overlapping. That means that is there in A, that is there in view 1, that is view 2. So there is a particular, we wrote a code for that. And then if it is overlapping or there is we set a threshold value. So if this threshold value, if the 2 points are close to each other and distance, Euclidean distance between these 2 points are less than a particular threshold, then we consider this they are overlapping points. That means same point in view 1 and view 2. So we merge them together by taking the average of distance. So we got a set of overlapping points and non-overlapping points, which does not have, it does not mean that view 1 will have got all overlapping points. Then what is the point of taking from 4 different angles? So we'll have a set of points, overlapping points, which has been averaged, which has removed the redundancies and non-overlapping points. And that makes a point cloud. That is what we have done. So that, in fact, that removes, because integration process, it removes the redundancy, first task, then makes a complete surface model. The next one is merger of corresponding points. Already I have discussed that two overlapping points has to be merged together to find a set of overlapping points, a set of non-overlapping points. Then last step will be generation of 3D model. We have used MATLAB programming, and isosurface technique has been used for surface creation. Using this step, we went further. We have got a cloud of points. So after the cloud of points, then a mesh generation has to be there. So we have used Delaunay triangulation. I have already explained Delaunay triangulation. That same process is being used here. I told that this is approximation. That means even if the scanning we make as close to each other as you make, still there are missing points. And here the missing points has been, there is a process called interpolation. I think if you are familiar with that, interpolation means we interpolate, approximate the missing points. And that is the reason why I have told that the 3D representation or the 3D reconstruction is an approximation, because you do not get all the data points. How close we make the scanning as much possible. So intermediate point generation between two data points, we have done it by cubic interpolation. There are different type of interpolation, linear interpolation, cubic interpolation. Cubic interpolation gives a little bit better result. So we have preferred cubic interpolation. Then still there will be noises. And median filtering, as I have discussed, is a common image processing algorithm, image processing filtering technique, which is used for noise reduction. Finally, with all the data points here, by this process, we make a complete surface. That is, there is a MATLAB called isosurface technique that we have completed generated surface. Applying this integration process to the data points which I have shown before, we get the integrated point cloud. See the upper one, integrated point cloud. The points on the platform are not there. If you can remember the last slide of that last picture, last image which I have shown, there are a lot of clumsy, there is a lot of points, but now it has become a little bit clean. Only desired surface points are there. Overlapping points are not there. So many processing has been made. So this is the upper one. It is the integrated point cloud. Only points that gives a representation of a mesh. But actual mesh, we have made it like this. Mesh representation of a surface. It looks like a surface here, but it is only surface. It does not look like a complete object. Then we have make isosurface technique. Then we have made a complete 3D model of the object. Different views of the object. And it gives, though I have not given exact representation of the dimension measurement, but it gives a complete close value to what we have obtained. So that is the original dimension, and this dimension almost matches. What will be sources of errors? If the platform is not flat, if there is reflectance from the surface, quality of laser is not good. There is undersampled data points. That means there are noisy data. It is not complete. That means scanning is not proper. And there is initial registration which I have told that there are two types of processings, feature matching technique followed by surface matching technique. So this is not proper. In that cases, we'll have sources of errors. I think, madam, I have talked for 1.5 hours almost. Can I stop now? Hello, ma'am. Are you
Yes, sir.
listening?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can I stop now? Because if I'll take off one more, it will go over to the 2:15, 2:30. So I have
Okay,
got
sir.
one more question,
Uh,
but it will take a
we
little
can have
time. I want.
interaction with the participants.
Yeah, right. I can have interaction because already it is 1.5 hours, almost 1.5 hours. So more than 1.5 hours. So we can have a interaction with the participants. If anyone have questions on this.
Participants, please raise your question if you have.
Because if it is overhead transmission, then there may not be any questions. So I do not know how far I have made a clear understanding, but it's an image processing one. And
Sir, I have one question.
yes,
How how can we have such a setup where we can have lasers? How can we develop such a setup in the laboratory or something to have laser sources and then they reflect and we catch the images and place the CCTV cameras?
you're right. That is a good one. I have told that this is an emerging research field, and for that initial investment is needed. This laser source, in fact, this is red line laser. Red line means generally, and in fact, the laser source that is a cylindrical lens is being used to convert to a laser point because laser pointer gives a point. But here we are getting a line. A
Yes.
cylindrical lens has been placed at the just front of the laser source, so that point will be converted to a line.
Yes, sir.
A manufacturer, because there are so many manufacturers of laser products in the net itself, there will be so many manufacturers. One can get it maximum 5,000, 4,000, 5,000 in that range. Good quality line laser, red line laser will be obtained.
Yes.
So in that cases, that will not cost it. Then second thing is that because this process, what we have made, that is we have made manually operated. But
Yes.
actually, I didn't get because I took time for this because it can be automated also. Stepper motor one can use
Yes,
because
sir.
next case study was like that, but already it is 1.5 hours, so I could not go to the next one, which has got industrial applications. But in that cases, it can be automatic also using a stepper motor. And again, MATLAB coding and NI, National Instruments visual software, that is
Yes.
will be useful for that. And here, the setup, in fact, a little bit help of the carpenter or something that one can set like this. We had made it actually. And this one also we had made, and next one which I could not show, that is also we have made it in these cases. And computer is normal computer which will be acquiring, and cameras, in fact CCTV cameras, these are also available in the net. Everything is available, so depends
Yes.
upon what quality you are interested for. And then there will be a platform. This complete platform, rotary stage as well as rotational stage, maybe more than 1 lakh. Somewhere like that, it varies from year to year. So it will be more than, but this is also rotary stage and translate, it is available. Or if one are not able to afford this, then one can have a handheld rotation. That means rotation at 90 degree, 180. So correspondingly also one can get that and it will be a good picture one will get. Automatic, if there is a translation as well as rotation automatically, what will happen? We can get more number of views. Complexity, mathematical complexity will be more, but it will give a clear cut. Just let me go over to this original slide. But it will give a clear cut, more accurate surface area. So that way it will work. And initially, if the investment is not more, then you can have your hand rotation so that surface profile can be obtained.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Particularly, this is a interest of general public. So that means anyone who is not having the depth in image processing or signal processing, image processing particularly, can have, because this is 3D modeling and 3D models are being used extensively in our practical life. So in fact, I was expecting more questions in this regard, but surprisingly, I'm not getting much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, it's okay. Just you have asked, unless otherwise. In fact, I find there are 72 participants, but hardly I am getting anything.
Hello,
So,
any question?
yes, yes, yes. Any question?
No, sir, I think nobody has any question.
Yeah, right. Actually, though I would still tell that it was nice to meet you all here and a little bit delayed start of this talk, but still I feel that many of you have understood and that is the reason why there is no question. Anyway, hope to meet you in future in 3D. That means face to face in somewhere. That 3D, so many times I have used. Now I'm using the word 3D in the context of meeting you in the face to face, and hopefully the corona condition will not be there for a long time. That is what I work. And last but not the least, you have an exhaustive talk from 9:15 to most probably a long duration talk there.
Yes, sir, we have
And
not given break also.
and again right now it is after that, so I was expecting that if would have been the talk of the day, first talk of the day, most probably I would have expected few more questions because this is launch time 1:45. So maybe that is the reason why I'm deprived, rather than I'll use the word deprive of any questions, because a speaker becomes happy when he gets a lot of questions, because that gives the impression that this everyone has understood and they are asking. But now I am not getting that feeling. But anyway,
Sir, actually, we need to study more. Then we can ask questions actually in this topic.
not exactly.
Because,
Actually, this is 3D modeling. See this,
because
the application.
we don't know ABCD also, and we are just connected to alphabets. Then it will be problem.
No, actually, see these applications. There are a lot of applications for that. Let us say day-to-day applications also we make home shopping, as I told in the beginning, entertainment. So 3D models are extensively used, and I was expecting that because general public is familiar with 3D models to some extent, 3D games, all the things. So I was expecting that. But anyway, still
Sir,
I
you
emphasize
please
that.
submit give the study materials so we can just because this training, some aspects are new for us. So coping up with the aspects of the current place, then it's good for us.
No, actually, that is the objective of this course, to introduce the participants to new dimensions. Unless otherwise, what is the point? If there is nothing new, that means a research domain is not explored, is not made familiar with the participants, then there is no meaning. But whatever they exist, if you speak, hardly it makes a meaning. And these things will not be available in the textbooks. So these new research aspects will not be available. But anyway, nice to note. And in fact, and I shall see how much I can give. But a lot of materials is available in the internet also, because whenever we started, we didn't ask anyone. We started from the net. There are a lot of papers in this, and in fact, I have one of my edited volume there itself. 3D surface reconstruction. I can show that one can refer to that. Just 1 minute. I think it is visible, madam. It is visible.
Yes, sir.
So this is a book publication by IGI Global USA that also gives a lot of different aspects of 3D surface geometry and reconstruction, developing concepts and applications. It is a edited volume. Many persons has written there are different because these foreign authors are also there. It may serve as a basic line or basic skeleton for having knowing the different aspect, and 3D modeling is being used different domains also. That domains which I have mentioned, I have just explained whatever we have developed in the lab itself. But here, because actually I was sure that I shall meet participants who may not be familiar with this, and suddenly giving them a different complex problem may be difficult to handle. So that is the reason why I started from the scratch itself. And I was also sure that I am speaking to a heterogeneous audience. So keeping all the minds, I have kept it simple as much as I can. This book also will solve. And there are other papers because extensively we have referred papers, and this is being updated day by day. So recent papers on 3D modeling, 3D reconstruction, PDF materials, many things are there. And now the days has come, information is not far away. So just a click and we get a lot of information.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you, sir.
very much. It was nice to meet you all. In fact,
Thank you, sir, for
it is-
such a nice talk. I personally knew this structured lighting approach earlier, but you have shown a new dimension for the applications of this particular approach. So it was such a nice lecture and interesting one. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. And sir, please share your PPTs so that it can be given to the participants.
Yeah, right. I shall do that. Yes, definitely. So last but not the least, thank you very much everyone for a patient hearing, even at the late hour, that means lunchtime. So I'd love to meet you again. I'd like to meet you again in 3D, what I told in future. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.